Today on Boring Gear Reviews, we have the new pedal from the audio cultivation project, Pome. Huge thanks to the Audio Cultivation Project for sending me the Pome. So the Audio Cultivation Project is a pedal effects company based out of Toledo, Ohio, and their newest pedal is the Pome. This is an envelope expression pedal, which means that any pedal that has expression control option, you can hook this up to, and based on the strength of the input signal, or basically like your pick attack, that will trigger that expression control. This allows for incredibly cool and very unique options. It allows you to like explore expression without having to worry about, extra foot switch dancing and stuff like that. And it really puts the emphasis on you as a player, which I love. The Pome is also a passive signal splitter. So if you have low impedance pedals that are sensitive to things like that, like fuzzes, it won't be an issue here. For controls, we have limit, and this will set the kind of threshold or sensitivity of the envelope. So more counterclockwise, you'll have to hit really hard for that envelope to open. And the more clockwise you turn it, the more sensitive it is, so you can play very light and still trigger that envelope. Next up, we have control, and that will set the position of the expression controlled effect when the Pome is off. And this is a very useful feature so that you can have essentially like 3 settings for the expression controlled. You can have when the Pome is bypassed, whatever the position will be, we'll set here. Then when you turn on the Pome, you have your light pick attack and your heavy pick attack for that same control. And then we have 2 switches on the bottom here, and this will allow you to change the order of the ring, tip, and sleeve for the expression control. Every pedal is a little different, so you can experiment and find different combinations. There's no necessarily wrong combination. It's just it'll work differently based on how you set these things and what pedal you're using. For today's demo, I am using my 2023 Mule Resophonic Mulecaster. And then from there, we'll be going into my Universal Audio Apollo X6, and then into the Soft Tube JMP 2203 amp plugin. All right, so for this first clip, we're going to start with the Gnarled from Dirty Haggard Audio. If you'd like to see my full demo of the Gnarled, click the link right here. Now, the Pome really does well at the beginning of the chain, but that doesn't mean you can't mix it up. So in this case, we're going to start with the distortion, then we're going to have the Pome. And here we're going to have the limit set at 9 o'clock. The control setting won't matter because we're not going to have the Pome bypassed. And then these switches here, the first switch is reverse. We're going to have that in the up position. And the second switch is ring. We're going to have that in the down position. And that will be going into the Earthquaker Devices Avalanche Run V2. And here we're going to be controlling the mix of the reverb. One thing I love to do with reverb and expression controls is do like lower chords and then go full wet as I do some higher notes. And here I can do that just with my pick attack. It makes for such a fun way to play. And here we're going to have it so when I pick lighter, there's not much reverb. And then every time I dig in, it's going to go like full wet reverb. All right, in this next clip, we're starting with the Pome, and here we're going to have both controls set at noon, and we're still going to have the reverse switch up and the ring switch down. The Gnarled will still be there for some distortion, and the Pome will be controlling the total recall from Chase Bliss Audio. And in this case, we're going to have Pome controlling both the time and rate controls of the tonal recall. And here when we begin, we're going to have the Pome bypass. So we get like a slapback delay, essentially. Then when we turn it on, we have two very, very different sounds based on how hard we're hitting that envelope. So when we're picking lighter, it's going to be more kind of like washed out with a bunch of repeats and kind of more haunting. And then when we dig in hard, essentially, it's just going to have one repeat. And every time we do it, it's going to like dive bomb after the note is played. It's so, so cool. I can't think of any other way I could get 3 different delay sounds instantly just by my play style. It's so rad. One of the things that really struck me with this pedal was just like how many more creative options I had and how well it pushed me to try new things. Super, super fun. So enjoy. lastly, we're going to start with the Pome again. And here we're going to have the limit around 11 o'clock and the control all the way off. We're going to have the reverse switch down and the ring switch up. And in this clip, we're going to have that controlling the parameter 2 function of the Fabrikat from Plasdac Electrisk. In addition to that, we're still going to have the Gnarled, and we're bringing back the Avalanche run for some reverb at the end. So what we get here is this beautiful kind of lower octave glitchy pad. And then every time I dig in hard, one of those notes will almost get like frozen and really brought to the front with a big low end or lower octave version of it. This is a bit more subtle as far as like what's happening in the effect, but audibly what you hear is quite different and very, very cool. I love the way that this pedal interacts with not only whatever pedal you're hooking it up to control expression, but the way it interacts with you and the way you interact with it. It makes for just such a great time to play. Enjoy. that's a wrap for the Audio Cultivation Project Pome. I love things that rely on your pick attack and your dynamics and your playing to create new sounds. And the Pome is like a really kind of exceptional and fun and exciting way to do that. I was really kind of blown away by how many more options were created just by knowing that, like, oh, the harder or softer I play, the feel and effect will change almost completely. There really are so many options with this. And one thing I really dig is that it's not like a cookie cutter thing. It's not, nothing wrong with like an expression pedal, like a volume pedal type thing for expression. But, it's just that works one way. And here it doesn't work that way at all. It's very interactive with you. It's not something you're adding on top of an effect. It almost feels like you're creating a new effect just with your playstyle. I talk about it frequently, but I love things that are dynamic. I love things that push me out of my comfort zone, that make me, work for new sounds and think of new ways to play, and force me to not play, the same stuff always. And the Pome is a really great tool. It's weird. It's a utility pedal, but it feels like a very musical pedal. I love that even though it's a very simple control scheme, it has a lot of options, and it'll allow you to do things that might not function the way you think it should, but you might find something really rad in that space. I love that. So link in the description, check out the Pome, check out the links for everything else I'm using. You can also find links to my Bandcamp, my website for merch, all of that stuff down below. If you dig the content, please consider hitting subscribe, like, share. All of that means the world to me. Thank you so much. Also, don't forget, we've got 2 weeks left for my Instagram giveaway. We're giving away 5 pedals. So head over to my Instagram, check that out too. And until next time, peace.